Senator, a lot of lawmakers are concerned with the implementation of the 2017 budget, but from the information that you have, what is the implementation status of the 2017 budget?
Yeah, thank you, Sheon. The truth of the matter is, you see, when we say we are concerned about the implementation, and some other people say it otherwise, I think this is where we'll be missing the point. I'm representing a people who voted me to represent them in the National Assembly. And so for us, the implementation of the projects contained in the Appropriation Act represents attempt by government to give these people not just dividend of democracy, but what the Constitution says with respect to governance. Now, if you look at the implementation thus far, it's a budget of 2.35 trillion, and so far they've given the releases of, I think it's about 450 billion, which means we're in deficit of about 1.9 trillion in terms of implementation. And these are the aspects that we are concerned with, and the executive has assured us that they are trying their best to see if they can take implementation to about 50%. At the current level, it's just about 8 varied, because I think the amount released across the MDAs is not uniform. But overall, 450 billion has been released. And so what we are saying here is we did a lot to make sure that we had a budget that would definitely meet the yearnings and aspirations of our people. Because let's not forget, I'm here sitting down representing Niger North, made up of 8 local governments and 87 wards. And these local governments and 87 wards are rural. They have a lot of deficit in terms of their welfare, in terms of their livelihood. And so for me, as their representative, my concern is how can they get those things that can also enhance their livelihood, that can give them good life? These are the issues. And so where these things are not done, you will not expect me as a representative not to be concerned. And I think this is the perspective that must be seen for the members of the National Assembly. And overall, our take is that implementation must make meaning to our citizens, and it must impact on their life. Now, we may sit down and be talking about the niceties of bringing January to December, but suffice it to say, what did the Constitution say? January to December is not the issue. It's 12 months, calendar months. And I think if you look at the reality, the budget cycle has had this particular, skewedness of not getting this January to December for so many reasons. And some of us are even beginning to ask, why must we stick to it if truly that has been a problem? Why not even look at what the natural cause of order are? But since the executive said their desire is to see if we can get back to January to December, we are going to do our own part to see how we can meet somewhere to see how that can be reduced. Right. But the point is that you need to understand, since we did not come up with a law that tells you so month to so month, certain things should happen. That is why we're having this problem. Right. It's a carryover that we are having. And for us, people may blame us. But remember, when we decide to have a budget where certain things are not properly captured, at the end of the day, the same citizens will come back to complain. So budget is a process, and a process definitely that we see, as far as we are concerned, is one in which we should be able to get things that our constituents will also want to see. And I think these are the bottom line. So, but with respect to what the executive desires us to do, yes, we have been urged, and that is why we are doing all we can, given the deficiency still, to see what can be done. All right. Because if you have a budget that has just been implemented at 10%, what are you going to roll over? We should be able to see what is going to be rolled over. Okay. Right now, the budget document was just submitted to me this evening. Okay. Well, and it's a bulky document. I'm taking it home to see what is contained in it. So I can't even make any comments on the details of the budget now because I just got it today. Okay. Let me ask Mr. Onyekwere about the concerns over implementation. What impact do you think, otherwise, the 2017 budget implementation will have? And if the performance of the 2017 budget is this low, over 400 billion out of over 2 trillion that is expected to be spent in terms of capital, what exactly are your thoughts right now on this?
Well, it's true that the president told Nigerians only 450 billion has been released out of about 2.35 trillion, which is roughly about 20% performance. But the question is, Will you simply rolling over this budget or saying it must run for up to June next year, will it change anything fundamentally? I don't think it will change anything. I think the distinguished senator should look at what is called the financial year, because he told us here now that there is no law that says it must be from January to December. The Financial Year Act is a law that is still extant. And if you look at Section 318 of the Constitution, it talks about the financial year of Nigeria being the period of January to December, or any other period which the National Assembly may determine, which is within their legislative powers in Section 4 of the Constitution. But that did not give them the power of arbitrariness. It didn't say 2016 financial year should run from April to March, or April to April the next year. The next one starts in June. There must be some certainty in the way we are doing things. So if the National Assembly, in its wisdom, wants to change the financial year, it should go ahead and legislate it. So it should not be different from year to year, so that there should be certainty in the way things are done. And also, if you had a budget whose revenue framework is so overly optimistic, which is relying a lot on borrowing, and you do not grant the powers for people to borrow until the last minute, what we're saying is that instead of saying you're implementing the 2017 budget, why don't you have most of those projects still captured in 2018? Start on time, get the money, do something in an orderly manner. Because it doesn't make sense that in June of 2017, you are still implementing the 2016 budget. And now, come to think of it, you have a revenue framework that you have started running in January. Did you keep aside all the money you were making since January until the 2017 budget came on stream? You are spending it for 2016 activities. And so in 2017, you are getting worried about where the resources are coming from. Why don't we say all those projects not executed in 2017? Put them in the 2018 budget. Start on time. Get the money you need to get. If you want to borrow, borrow. However you need to raise money, raise it so that we have an orderly sequence. And not for us to be implementing a 2017 budget in the middle of 2018. It doesn't make sense. So.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Enyokwere. Thank you so much for your time and your thoughts there. Senator Shabi Abdullah, always a pleasure having you on the program and for your thoughts there. Thank you so much. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Sean Kimbale. Bye for now.